Hello and welcome along to Clare FM's Sideline View Review. Jerry Clinch with you here on this Monday evening. Coming up on the show, we will be looking back on some of the weekend's action, in particular Clare versus Sligo in the football, Clare versus Offaly in the camogie. We'll round up the local soccer action and then we begin to cast our eye forward, as on Wednesday night the Clare under-20 hurlers begin their Munster Championship campaign, and on Thursday Spanish Point go for the All-Ireland Ladies A senior football title. So much more of that to come, but it's football where we start first, where Clare's National League campaign ended with the fourth defeat as a late point from Sligo saw them win by 223 to 28 points in Markievicz Park. It was a frantic finish to the game, with Sean McAllister rattling the crossbar before Sligo broke on the counter-attack to kick the winning score. Here's how that winning score played out.
Clare now wrestle it back. We had 68 minutes, 16 seconds before the clock. Maybe another attack or two. Clare have the football. Aaron Griffin is given it to Sean McAllister. It's opened up.
Sean McAllister off the crossbar. Oh my word!
Lord,
it absolutely leveled the crossbar, and now Sligo go off on the counter-attack, going right down the field as Evan Lyons, the cornerback, passing the 45-metre line. Out to McLaughlin it goes. He has a little bit of time and space, slips it inside. This could be the opportunity. It is Jack Levin off the bench to put them in front, and Sligo lead by 2:23 to Clare's 28 points. Crossbar at one end, white flag at the other.
So that is how Sligo earned that 1 point win over Clare in Markievicz Park yesterday. And after the game I spoke with Clare boss Paul Madden.
I know we didn't, and a lot of people's eyes didn't have anything to play for today versus Sligo, but you know, any day you wear a Clare jersey you have something to play for, and it's 5 weeks or just less now to the first round or the semi-final against Kerry, so lads are trying to play for positions on the pitch. I thought, look, we started slowly. It was like we got off the bus slowly or something. We started slowly, but I thought, you know, in previous games when teams got runs on us, we kind of went flat, and to be fair, I thought at half time we'd recovered quite well. And I thought the first 15, 16 minutes of the second half we did really well. We controlled it and we were 5 points up, and we did the most stupid errors then, basic errors. And I'm not even talking about the 14 points I reckon that we left behind us. I'm talking about hand passing the ball to ground, hand passing the ball away. The 2 goals that we gave away were from stupid turnovers. So look, I suppose from my perspective, I have to try and take some of the positives from it to keep lads going, and you know, we've had a number of knocks and injuries and a couple of more today, but we've got a serious body of work to do over the next month now and be ready for that Kerry game.
But there was a real sense of hard luck about the second goal, because Brindy had gone down with the injury. Now I know that new thing is in where if it's not a head injury they don't tend to stop the game, but you know, that was, can you put that down as a turnover? It was just something that happened really.
I thought he got a bad pass. I thought it was a bad pass given to him. It went to ground. In fairness to him, he was brave, he won it. Borderline could have been seen as a foul, and it is unfortunate then when it's play on and he's completely out of the play. Like, I mean, he can't get back, and that's the nature of this game now, that if you turn over the ball or you lose the ball, it's very hard to stop the other team from getting a score on you, you know. And so it was a bit hard luck, but you know, someday we have to get rid of the hard luck stories.
And I suppose that thing of getting the ball and making it count, the last score, we rattled the crossbar at one end and they come up the field for that point at the end.
We shouldn't have been rattling this crossbar there. We should be tapping the ball over the bar. We're a point up with a minute to go, and you imagine then with the extra man we can defend that kick out. We miss it, they come straight down and get the winning score. You know, it's, you know, have to be learning from these errors. Like, we just have to be learning, and regardless of who's playing or, you know, who's picking the team, these basic errors we have to learn from.
But in an overall sense, I think that was our highest points tally of the National League with 28. Yeah. So some really, really good stuff in it.
We've been scoring very well in every game. We've just been conceding way too much. And that's not just down to the defenders now. That's down to the whole structure of the team. But I definitely know that you keep your turnovers down, you keep your score down. If you have big turnovers, you're in trouble.
It seems to have bookended this league with a very good performance in Down without the result. Good performance here today without the result, but ultimately still safe and solid.
Oh yeah, safe and solid, I suppose. That's if you want to look at it. We're in Division 3 next year, whether we won this game or not. We're still in Division 3 next year. You know, we'd like to think that we're capable of doing better. I think we are as a group capable of doing better, but we have to learn from what we did wrong today and maybe what we did wrong throughout the league. And I'm sure we will work really hard over the next month. I'm sure we will.
But there's a fair examination coming at the end of all that learning, isn't there?
Of course. All-Ireland Munster League champions, I mean, the best in the business, absolutely, and it looks like they're getting better. So look, why not? It's a great opportunity for us. There'll be no expectation on us, so we've to work hard for the next couple of weeks, and you know, we will be very motivated for that game.
Are you hopeful injuries will clear up in that period?
Yeah, I am. I mean, certainly there's a couple of lads that were close today, but to be honest, an extra week was going to help them, or 2 weeks. So we have to look at the bigger picture. And then a couple of knocks today. They look like more impact knocks than anything else. So lads are sore and everything else, but they should be right. A couple of niggles that we just can't shake with lads, but look, we've just under 5 weeks now to get it right.
That is Clare manager Paul Madden there after Clare's loss to Sligo, and as he said, thoughts now very much turned towards that showdown with Kerry in a few weeks' time. More football chat to come on Friday evening's show, where we'll preview the under-20s trip to Waterford, and we'll also reflect on Clare's league campaign as a whole. Much more to come, and of course we will turn our eyes to the minors getting their championship underway, so lots more to come. We turn now though to Camogie, where Clare completed their unbeaten record in the group stages of the Division 1B League with victory over Offaly in Zimmer Biomet Park Kissogue. A final showdown with Dublin is up next for Eugene Foodie's side, with that game set to be played in Nolan Park, Kilkenny on Sunday, April 12th. That's part of a double header with the Division 1A decider. After the win over Offaly, I spoke with Clare goalkeeper Dylan Murphy, who produced some brilliant saves in that game. But first, let's hear from the Clare manager, Eugene Foodie.
Very happy with the first half performance. Scoring 2-9, 2-6 in play. Probably, very hard to keep the intensity going. The girls knew they were in the final. Probably watching themselves not getting injuries. Presents 8 substitutes, kind of in the space of 10-12 minutes. Takes the momentum from the game. But look at overall, they battled really hard, played really well, and so I'm really happy with them.
And in fairness, the way the cavalry came on, like they did their job in making sure that nothing was going to slip.
Yeah, look what they did. I mean, they're all fighting for their places. There's a great bunch you can see there now. The girls that didn't play the half are out there running, and that's just testament to what we're trying to build. And the whole group wants to win and wants to be part of it. And if no matter what sport you're playing, you want to be playing. Unfortunately, we can only play 15 and put on the subs, but everyone's really happy at the moment.
And as you said, that first half, even though you were down a couple of central figures like Clare, like Sinead, the ones that stepped up, and Roisin Begley coming in particular, really taking on that scoring leadership role.
Yeah, she took on the frees instead of Lana Mack. I think she only missed one free in the whole game. Very positive. Suzanne can really come back into the fold. So every game she gets she's improving. She's a quality player, as we know well from club level, and she's a huge addition to us. But then you have the likes of Lana Mack to come back. You have Claire Hare, as you mentioned, Andrea O'Keefe, all to come back into the fold as well. So hopefully we can clear up those knocks over the next week or 10 days and get a bit of work into them ahead of the final.
But one thing was very evident, that no matter who was in a position, they knew what their defined role within that was. The structure, the style of play was there, and everybody knew when to move and where.
Yeah, fair play to Aaron and the boys. They're doing a lot of work on that and getting things. But we play a lot of in-house games, and we have good numbers and huge numbers of tendon training. So when you have that, it's easy to get structures right and work on it. And hopefully now we can just follow up. We're unbeaten in the league. We want to keep that kind of going and win the final,
Yeah, and you started off against Dublin, and it's Dublin you're going to finish up against as well, so a nice little bit of symmetry to that one.
Yeah, that was a really tough opening round with the travel to Dublin and to kind of Abbottstown to their back garden, and this time we're going to Nolan Park. Hopefully we can make use of the wide open spaces and dominate our game and hopefully come out the right side of it. We'll work really hard towards that.
Yeah, I suppose it is a great run. Just the last few games has been all about building momentum now towards the league final, and I suppose it's great to have something to look forward to. So I think that's in 3 weeks' time now, so get a good block of training in and hopefully get a good performance again in Nolan Park. I think it's fixed for.
And the fact you had the draw day one and wins every day since then, it must lead to a real good feel-good factor in the camp.
Yeah, no, it has, and I know everyone's in the same boat at the start of the year. You don't really know where you stand going into first round of league, and Dublin were a really physical team, and we were lucky to come out there with the draw. And just since then, probably been 1 or 2 lucky breaks here and there, like the Limerick game could have gone either way, but we got the win and we've built on it since there. So just hopefully now we can keep it going. Yeah, does the nature of those tight victories kind of help to bind the camp even more? Yeah, it definitely does. Like I suppose in the last few years there's been a few games where we've come out on the other end of a tight game, and just this year we seem to be able to, when it comes down to home straight, we seem to be able to get the draw or get the win with the last puck of the game. So I suppose it's great, and it's probably just a testament to all the training we're doing and the work that everyone's putting in. And I suppose that the couple of people back into the squad like yourself, there's a real sense of experience and freshness mixed in together. Yeah, no, definitely. There's a good few back this year, and then you've the likes of Maeve Malaya, who's really pushing for a place, and Lorna Mack is back and absolutely flying it. And there's younger girls as well who are pushing everyone in training and stuff. So, like, you're going out today and you're like, you want to hold on to your jersey, and that's the biggest aim probably for anyone who does start, is holding on to the jersey for the next day now.
I'd say a few probably gave them headaches this afternoon. Like Roisin was exceptional up front, brilliant on the frees. I'd say Lorna might be looking to go back on them the next day or whatever, but you need those options, you need that pressure in training.
Oh, you definitely need it. Like, just even in the last few weeks, girls have picked up knocks and stuff, and like, I suppose at the moment now, the way the game has gone, it's not about the first 15 who take to the field. It's probably about the 5 or 6, or I think it's 8 in the league who can come on, and you can see like we are finishing really strong in every game. So it just shows we have built that depth in the panel that's needed.
You were probably a little bit busier today than you might have liked at times, were you?
Yeah, I don't know, it's just one of those games, I suppose you do nothing for 5 minutes and then you're flat out for 5 minutes, but look, I suppose we didn't do too bad in the end, and I think we won by 5 or 6, so we'll definitely take it.
Absolutely. And I suppose in fairness, defensively they probably struggled to carve out any major clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. Things were nice and tight, even though you were down Sinead, down Clare, but you still had plenty of lock nuts back there.
Yeah, no, definitely. You could see, like, even when Michelle Powell came in there to cornerback, she was excellent. Niamh Bull came back from midfield to cornerback, and you'd never know she wasn't there, like, you know. So there is girls that can play in different positions, and I suppose it's just like, you know what you're doing in training. Like, everyone has to know all the different positions that they can play in, because you don't know where you'll end up on the day.
The league final now down for the 12th. I think it's Dublin you're playing. They came through this afternoon, so you'll book in the league campaign, a game against Dublin, another one down in Nolan Park. But fantastic occasions to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a double header with the 1A, I think. So yeah, I suppose once we know who we're playing now, we can do a bit of work. And we had an awful tough game against them up in Abbottstown, so you'd be expecting nothing less again, and hopefully this time we might come out with a win.
That is reaction there from the Clare Camogie camp after their win over Offaly, and the countdown now on to that final in Nolan Park on April 12th. There was disappointment this weekend for the Clare ladies footballers, who lost out to Fermanagh in the penultimate round of the National League, and that result means Clare will need to better Laois's result in next weekend's final round of games to avoid relegation to the bottom tier. Clare host Roscommon while Laois go to Louth, and if Laois don't get a result, then Clare will be safe regardless of their own game, and we will look ahead to that one on Friday evening's show here on Clare FM. More to come on Sideline View Review. Do stay tuned. Jim Madden joins us here on Sideline View Review to look back on what happened over the last couple of days in terms of local soccer. And Jim, we start, I suppose, fittingly with a league champion being crowned. Tell us all about it.
Yes, indeed. Great to see Hermitage Women's picking up the first major trophy of the season, winning the Women's League. I gather it's their second time in 3 years for them to win it, which is an absolutely brilliant occasion. And they won it beating the Bridge by 6-0 in the Bridge at the weekend. And they were presented with the cup after it. And I gather, which I find great as well, they were able to celebrate in Ennis with the returning Munster soccer team, which won the Interprovincial. Owen Hayes was on that team and played in all 3 matches. So great occasion to have 2 teams that are extremely successful.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, I know the savage work being done out in Hermitage, and as you said, it's certainly bearing fruit, so congratulations to everybody involved in all of that. Some significant games as well, Jim, particularly in the Enniscarpets Clare Cup and the Premier Division.
Yes, indeed. We'll start with the Premier Division. Ennisdons were beaten 4-0 by Tulla. So Tulla are back on track, as the fella said, after they lost to the Bridge last week. Great to see a team that's able to bounce back after a setback like that. And then down in Kilrush, Newmarket maintained their position and moved to the head of the table, beating Kilrush Rangers by 4-1. In the first division then, Mount Shannon and Moher Celtic played a 1-1 draw, while Shannon Hibs maintained their position in third place in the first division by beating Manus 1-0. Shannon Olympic and Bunratty played a 2-2 draw, and Newmarket B really did show that they are a force to be reckoned with in that first division. They've increased the gap at the top, beating Ferden Celtic by 4-0. In the second division then, Corofin Harps and the Ennisdons B drew 1-1, and Sporting Ennisdiamond, which surprised me, were beaten 3-1 by Avenue B. Hermitage, who are at the top of that second division, won 1-0 at home to Cool FC. And then Newmarket C and Bridge United played a 3-3 draw. And then in the third division, Mount Shannon B were very beaten heavily by Shannon Town B 7-0, while Hermitage B and Bridge B played out a 7-goal thriller, with Hermitage B winning by 4-3. And then Bridge United C were beaten 2-0 by Shannon Hibs B. So in the Premier Division, Derek, the top of the table is Newmarket are back on top again with 32 points from the 12 games played. Bridge are second with 30 points, and they have 12 games played as well. And Tulla are third with 28 points from their 12 games, and Avenue are fourth with 28 points again. Little bit of goal difference there gives that Tulla the advantage with 12 games. And I must say, fair play to the fixture secretary there for David for being able to keep all the teams at the top on the same number of games, so not leaving anybody with any great advantage in games to come or anything like that.
Yeah.
In the first of Sorry, Derek.
I was just going to say, in that Premier Division race, the fact that there's 4 games left for each of the top teams, and I think a couple of them are against each other as well. There's some right crackers coming down the track.
There is indeed, and I think it really is great for the league, and it's great for the clubs as well, that coming into the home straight, they all have to be competitive now. Nobody wants to drop a point, and the title is probably still there to be won. But you look at it in a sense and you think somebody has to beat Newmarket, don't they?
Yeah, I just we'll give a quick run because I actually have them here. They were posted last night on the Facebook page for Clare District Soccer, which is fantastic at the moment. But Newmarket Celtic's 4 remaining fixtures: Shannon Town away, Tulla United at home, Bridge United away, which could be a big one, and Fairgreen Celtic away. And then Bridge United's 4 games: they have Ennisdons away, the Fairgreen at home, they've Avenue at home, and as we mentioned, they've Newmarket at home. So 3 of their 4 are on the Shannon Road. Avenue United, interestingly, all their 4 games that are left are away. They have Tulla United, Bridge United, Kilrush Rangers and Fairgreen Celtic, while for Tulla United it's a mixed bag enough. They've Newmarket away, Avenue at home, Shannon Town away and Kilrush Rangers at home. So there's one thing for sure, Jim, among those 4 fixtures we're going to get a little banana skin somewhere.
We are indeed, and maybe the banana skin could come where you mightn't expect it, because all of the teams will be up for this. When you're playing the top 4 and you're not in the top 4 like Kilrush or the other clubs, it's a cup final in a sense, and God, we can really upset the apple cart here if we get a result, a point even out of that game. So everybody is going to be motivated to try and knock the top ones off their perch a little bit.
They certainly are. Let's turn our attentions then, Jim, to the Enniscarpets Clare Cup third round. 5-1 victory for Bridge United against Ryan Rovers, and Avenue with a 3-1 hard-fought enough victory by all accounts. A 3-1 victory over Connolly Celtic, which leaves us with our final 8.
It does indeed, and the draw is tonight. And again, all of the top clubs are in the draw, which I think is excellent as well. So we will have plenty of good games to look forward to over the next number of weeks. Yeah,
just to run through the final 8 then, it's Avenue United, Bridge United, Ennisdons B, Newmarket Celtic, Shannon Hibs, Shannon Town B, Sporting Ennistimon and Tulla United. So there's still the potential, depending on how that draw will go, and we'll let people know as soon as we know, in terms of, I suppose it was a fairy tale last year, Tulla getting to the cup final for the first time, and very unlucky that it was only decided in the last 10 minutes. But you look at the 2B teams there in the Dons and Shannon Town, and like Sporting Ennistimon have been on some run to get this far in the cup as well. So lots and lots of storylines that could unfold.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, it was fairy tale stuff last year in the sense Newmarket, or Tulla, getting to the cup final for the first time. I thought that they were a bit unlucky on the day. Newmarket had to dig in to see them off, which is really probably the thing about Newmarket. But again, if you remember, the day was absolutely dreadful for football. Rained quite heavily. And maybe for a team as young as Tulla, it was just that little bit more difficult. And of course, Newmarket would have tremendous experience and able to deal with those kind of things. So we have a hell of a lot to look forward to. And I think that we should have, hopefully now, the weather will keep improving, the pitches will be drying, and the ground staff will be all working hard to keep their pitches right. So we should have a very good run in, Derek.
Please God, and we'll talk more about that later on in the week. But Jim, for now, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Now it's that time of year again when we look ahead to Clare's Under-20 Hurling Championship campaign, which gets underway this Wednesday evening down in 6 Mile Bridge. Delighted to have manager Terence Fahey with us to look ahead to it. Terence, it's that type of a championship, isn't it? Just been so long looking forward to it, and all of a sudden it's a whirlwind of fixtures.
Yeah, absolutely. It creeps up so fast, and when you start your preparation, you're a long way away from it, and it seems a long way away, and then it's on the doorstep, and then it's on you, and then when it starts, it just goes into a turbo gear like that. Absolutely, it's just relentless that way. That's the nature of the round robins, I suppose. It's the same in the senior, it's the same in the minor. They just when they get going, they get going.
You're in the job a couple of years now. Did you find it a little bit easier in terms of how to approach the year, how to plan things out?
Well, I think we have our normal. We have our normal routines, and we've had them since we started, really, and they're always based around Wednesday night matches, and so we haven't changed over the years, obviously, in our structure and how we approach it. So, but we've tried to learn year on year and bring kind of progressions in year on year, and how we try to do things a little bit better. But we're pretty much on the same routine as we have always been on. We don't deviate from that. Young lads like routine, and we feel they thrive on that. So we try to have that there as a starting point.
And I know there'll be a turnover every year, obviously, in terms of players and stuff like that, but particularly maybe within your management group, is there still a deep sense of frustration of how things finished last year?
Well, look, that was last year. You have to move on at this level. You have to move on. You don't have much business spending too much time dwelling on the past. Yeah, we were very disappointed at the end, but that was, we're just we've a lot of survivors from that group. We have in the region of 20 players who were involved in the extended panel last year. So you would hope that seeds a kind of a hunger there to try and get back to that level again, and just go a step harder and go a step further. Yeah.
And I suppose, given that it was such tight margins, calls that should have been given that weren't given, and everything that went with it, at the same time, did it kind of give a sense that we're not that far off here? It was just little things, we can overcome this.
Yeah, well, we weren't far off last year. I suppose, look at Tipperary were the best team in the championship last year, and the fellas that led that under-20 triumph in May went on to really drive a senior All-Ireland success in July. When you look at the personnel that they had there, and O'Donoghue and McCarthy and O'Farrell in particular, they were very instrumental in All-Ireland senior semi-final and final success. We were a long way off them in the round robin in 6 Mile Bridge last year, and we were very disappointed with that, because that wasn't they shouldn't have been that far ahead of us. And we shored it up a bit in the Munster final, and if we, other things, fell our way, and we had that little bit of, if we had that little bit of rub of the green, it might have been our night. But look, we try and take the learnings from it, and we try and just go a step harder, and go into the first round this year, and just be, ready to go in the Munster Championship.
And it's always a quality championship anyway, but just looking across the province, every county will, they'll find high points, I think, in this particular year. Like you've Waterford coming off that minor, we're going quite well, as you said, Tip with the All-Ireland, Limerick and Cork will always have it. So it does seem like a very even, highly competitive championship.
Yeah, year on year, it's beginning to mirror the senior more and more. The teams are better prepared, more investment behind them, there's more experience, there's more success underpinning how they go forward. So, if you look at the counties, our own county included, there are players popping up in the National League every week and performing to a very high standard on senior teams. from Clare teams, Cork teams, Limerick teams, Waterford teams, Tipperary teams, that it's just a reflection of the standard rising. You see it in at every level in hurling in particular. The coaching is better in your club, the skill levels are better in your club teams, and that's all the time bubbling up at inter-county level as well, where if you go to a county minor match and you see the skill level, sure, your jaw would be dropping half the time looking out at fellas who are only gone 16 maybe, some of them maybe still 15, and what they're able to do. So the standards are rising all of the time, and that's reflected at the highest levels in the Munster Championship in senior, and it's also reflected in the underage championships too, at under 20 and at minor levels. So rising standards of coaching everywhere, and rising standards of skill and performance and S&C, and that's leading to brilliant championships, brilliantly competitive, brilliantly skillful, brilliantly entertaining championships. So I'm very sure that this year's Munster Under 20 Championship won't be any different to that.
With all those ingredients into the big bowl, then the fact that, as you mentioned, I think you said 20 players of last year's panel still involved this year. Like, even from an S&C perspective, that 1 year, full well at that age, developmentally can be huge. That experience can be huge as well. So lots of reasons for Clare to come in confident.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've an experienced group, and you touched on S&C, and I think that one of the things, one of the big pillars that we have is these lads have had the same S&C for the last 3 years. So, and a fella Conor Shannon oversees that at our level with our group, and he has such an investment of time and energy and care put into them that they're in good shape. They're in very good shape, and we couldn't be happier with them from that perspective. So it's about going out now and just delivering performances, hopefully. And you're going to be tested every day, and you're going to be tested at every turn of the competition. So, but we're really looking forward to seeing our group go at it, and we've a lot of belief in our group, and we've no excuses about driving the thing on.
And another level of intrigue on this, I suppose, is the fact that here's our minor group of 3 years ago and Waterford's minor group of last year. However many of them will come through, so it'll be interesting to watch that dynamic at play.
Absolutely, and I suppose that's our privilege, that our lads have won at the highest level. So they'll have a lot of belief from that, and they'll have a lot of belief in their capacity and their ability to win matches and perform at the highest level. And that's a brilliant thing to have in the back pocket. And I suppose it also forewarns us that we saw in 2024 with our under 20 team in Clare, we saw the boost that minor winning team gave us, where about 8 of them came straight into our team, and they came in with a brilliant energy, a brilliant bravery, and a brilliant kind of just fearlessness. And so we know the power that can bring to an under 20 group. So we're well aware of the challenge that Waterford are going to bring next Wednesday night in 6 Mile Bridge, and there's nobody within our group, players or management, who would underestimate that in any capacity.
And one thing that's been very notable, and we've travelled the country with them this year in Division 1B, has been the support that the senior hurlers have got, and the support and the goodwill and that buzz that's around Clare hurling at the moment anyway. So given that your first 2 games at home, and they're tough enough ones, to get a big banner support to O'Garney Park, I've no doubt you'll be urging that to happen, to give you that 16th man.
Yeah, well, like that support that Clare senior hurling team have, that's followed them down in that Division 1B to all those unglamorous settings, that's earned, and that comes from respect, and that comes from what the players have done on the field. And that's the response of the supporters to do that, to go and back them in all those places. So you have to earn that. So we have to earn that, and so hopefully we'll make a start on that on Wednesday night. You have people who will support you if you deserve the support, but you have to go out and you have to prove that you're a team that's worthy of that, and that deserves that. So we won't be putting the cart before the horse on that. We won't be, we'll just be very focused on getting the team right and getting the mentality right for Wednesday night and seeing where it brings us then.
And we will see how things unfold firstly in 6 Mile Bridge on Wednesday evening, with that game live here on Clare FM from 7 o'clock. Up next, we're focusing on Spanish Point's bid for All-Ireland Ladies Football Glory. And you're very welcome back. Well, on Thursday there will be a massive West Clare presence in Netwatch Dr Cullen Park when St Joseph's Spanish Point take on Our Lady and St Patrick's of Belfast in the All-Ireland Senior A Ladies Football Post-Primary Schools Final. It's the first time the school will compete in this decider since they last won the title in 1997 and will complete a meteoric rise through the ranks in recent years. Two of the spectators on that day will be two mothers who are willing their daughters to follow in their footsteps in winning this championship, as Ellie Hanrahan and Emily Shannon bid to emulate their mam's achievements of 29 years ago. I spoke with both Deirdre Shannon and Loretta Hanrahan to gather their reflections of their time winning All-Irelands, and began with Deirdre's thoughts on just how quickly that time has passed.
Time flies by, unfortunately, when you start adding up the years. It's been a bit more than that now, a nice bit of time since. You know what, it's still, you still have the same excitement. I suppose we didn't probably, to be back there and think when we played, we didn't probably appreciate how much this means and how much to everyone. It's now when you see your own going through it, it's huge, it's phenomenal. And I suppose it does bring back lots of wonderful memories, of great times in school, great years. We won loads. We lost plenty, but we won loads. And, there was huge achievements through Spanish Point. Very grateful for it,
And Loretta, is it similar for yourself that it's kind of with the passage of time you begin to appreciate just how glory those days were?
Well, sure, Derek, it's just like as Deirdre said there, when you were going through it yourself, me personally, football was a way out of school. And there were great memories, but it was days off in the bus, and it was, you know what I mean? You don't realise what you have won until you see your own daughter doing it now. And I mean, it was a medal in the cabinet for years, and it was a bit of sparring between myself and Eddie. You didn't get this, and but I got to see away with Kimori, and you never got that. And so I'm just delighted now that they're being given the opportunity. And also back then, ladies football was only coming on the page, like, do you know what I mean? We weren't getting the publicity, but there was no Facebook pages, there was no big prints, there was no interviews in Clare FM. Do you know what I mean? The girls are really getting the recognition now as much as the men's. That the work they put in is equal, and it's great to see that when they do get to these big events that they are getting publicity. So, looking back, it was, I suppose we never realised what it was. Now we do, of course, and I'm delighted for them now to get the chance again.
Deirdre, take me back then to, I suppose, your memories of that time, what you won, and I suppose what stands out for you.
Oh God, I suppose we were very, very lucky. Really, we have. I have 4 94, 95, 96, 97. I have 4 Munster finals with that team, and 96 and 97 winning and 2 All-Irelands at senior level, at A level. It's phenomenal, We had a wonderful team. We had a lot of that core team right through from 94. A lot of the players were there right through. Following on, and I suppose you do lose 1 or 2 every year, but you're kind of building all the time. And I suppose we had excellent players. We were players that were playing 16s and minors with Clare at that stage, and it's just, I suppose, all of those girls coming together, all the different clubs coming together. It's kind of like a county team, I suppose. You've your top level players, but they're coming together because they're friends in school together, going on the same buses, meeting every day, playing clubs together against each other. It's huge. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was so enjoyable. And as Loretta said, any bus going, I've said that to my own daughter, any bus going, you want to be on it.
Yeah, and Loretta, like to come on as a squad like that, or to get a group. It shows incredible longevity and consistency, I suppose, to win what she did, 4 Munsters, 2 All-Irelands. That's an incredible amount of success to keep up.
Well, it was, but I mean, we were lucky. We all came from good footballing clubs and good footballing families, and the push was there. But I mean, you put them all together, all the girls from Bunbeg and Curriclare and Milton Malbay, like, it was a great group of girls there. But I mean, I do put it down to the dedication and the push that came from the management. Like Michael Neelan, there was nothing. I don't think I've ever met a manager like him since. You were putting on your runners there on Wednesday lunch break, and you were going up your Highlands and still running. I mean, there was some students that here, Minton. But I mean, that's what it took Sunday mornings, Quincy Beach, And he nothing stood in his way, and he made sure that we did everything we could to try and win in All Ireland. And eventually we did. So do you know what I mean? Like, it was well worth it. Like, in my memories, like, it's great to win and everything, but you had great players, like, on the bus. The crack was unreal, going off to a match at the Morrissey, hammering out the Rattling Bog. The Clean was there, even Diane Kelly went back and repeated Abby's. And I mean, we had great players. It was a great dedication, a great group of people. If you missed training, by God, Neil was down the stairs. You were running from him. Where were you? Had no gear this evening. Off down to the men's room, get you socks and the boots, and you were out. There was no such thing as missing a session. There was no such thing as getting away with anything. The dedication was there and the push was there. And we were lucky. We had a great group of girls, but we did work hard at it, like, as the girls are doing now again.
And Deirdre, as Loretta mentioned there, like, not only, I suppose, has the recognition increased, but I suppose the amount of background stuff that goes into it now. I suppose Michael might have been a one-man band, and we know he was ahead of his time and what he's achieved since, like, in management, but I suppose that bar has gone up an awful lot as well, hasn't it?
Yes, for sure. I suppose Michael had Miss Cleary, Miss Flanagan there as well, who was also part of the previous squads there in 86, 87, so that experience came in there. As Loretta says, there was no stone left unturned with Michael and his I suppose ambition for us as a team. It was everything that we could possibly do. Looking now, I suppose, even from a parent's perspective, I suppose we can see so much about other teams before you ever play them. Social media has a huge impact. Players are doing, like, we just trained, we ran, we kicked ball everywhere, and we trained, whereas now there's strength and conditioning, there's nutritionists, there's physiotherapists, there's so much involved, and please, and hopefully that it's for the better of the players, for the better minding, for that they can play longer and have less injuries, I suppose, over the time. So there has been huge changes, but I suppose social media as well is huge, being able to watch now knowing that we can stream this game for people that can't go to Carlow, that we can stream this game on live. Grandparents can watch this match, from home if they can't travel. And, that's huge. That's huge for every child playing on this team, So, it's brilliant.
And Loretta, what is it like then, being that parent on the sideline, trying to remember your own, and I've been beside you on enough of sidelines now, so I want an honest answer here, like, but what is that like?
Well, sure, it's brilliant, but I mean, it's a lot of pressure. Like, as you know, Ellie has gone back repeating there, and I mean, like, there's a lot of pressure on her. She's a county girl, but I mean, there's pressure on us in the line. You want them to do well, you're willing them to do well every game. Even the last day, the high pressure, last few minutes, they had missed enough to win 2 games, and you're up there like, it's heart attack. It's just not the same at all. Like, I never experienced playing football. I never was nervous playing football. I'm up there in the stand now, and I'm in bits for them and for her down there. You're just willing them to do well, and then the pressure is on them. As you say, it's all over social media now, good and bad. The day you take a miss, your photo's there. The day you score, your photo's there. Do you know what I mean? So it's high pressure, and you just worry that you want them to do well, and you're willing them to do well, because everyone's asking, as you said, Deirdre said, it's all over the radio, it's all over the news, and it's brilliant that it is. I'm delighted for the girls that it is, and that yourself is promoting them all the time. And fair play to Derek Dormer, he's always pulling them aside, giving them the interviews. But I mean, it's more pressure, it's high pressure on the girls to succeed, and I just hope they do it on the day. We'll be praying like hell looking on sideline. I never have experienced pressure like it, I know that for sure. Not as a player anyway, it's worse.
And Deirdre, I was talking to Emer Constein in the build-up to the game the last day, and she made a point which I hadn't thought of, that the only games that this group had lost in the last couple of years were All-Ireland semi-finals. Like, that is some going.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, when you look at the management that, we talked there about Michael Neelan, when you look at the management that's in there, I mean, I played club level with Fiona Lafferty, and she's gone on with Camogie, gone on to all sorts, they're amazing. Fiona and Emer in their own right, they're both absolute, to look for the girls to look up to and to be trained by such high standard, it's fabulous. They're going to be, they can't but look up and aim to achieve high, So, like, All Irelands don't come by often, you might be lucky. We work hard for them. They know that. They've worked hard. They've grafted each match. The last game was, as Loretta says, nerve-biting. We thought it was gone, actually, and I suppose you lose some and you build up the pieces and you become stronger. And I suppose these girls have gone from C to B to A, and that over the last 2 years, and that's just amazing achievement, and we're very proud.
Yeah, and it's some, Loretta, we mentioned the consistency that your group would have shown in what you achieved, but for to come up from the C grade and not only compete at the B grade but go and ultimately win it at Munster level, and then to do what they've done this year with a Munster Senior A and an All-Ireland A final to come, it's just the standards seem to be just that there is no ceiling on them.
Yeah, it's unreal. To be fair, there's been fantastic groups of girls for the last 4 or 5 years coming through. And these girls are on their shoulders because those teams have carried them up from C to B to A and really pushed them up there. And now it's their chance to win it, to take it home for all of them. I mean, it's been a fantastic year all around. Everything they go out, they fought hard. They've come back from losing in the first 10 minutes in all their games. They're a real crowd of fighters. You know what I mean? You go in, you go, oh my God, this is not going our way. And yet they turn it around. So, you couldn't be but proud of them. Win, lose, or draw on the day, the whole area would be proud of them. So please God, they'll do it.
And Deirdre, it just shows the unity and I suppose the real pride they have in their school as well. And I suppose maybe a little microcosm of this is the joint captains Kayla Darcy and Aoibhinn Ryan, Kilmurray and Dunbeg. Now, normally Kilmurray and Dunbeg wouldn't agree on the day of the week, not to talk of vice captaining a team together, but when they come under that Spanish Point banner, it is really just like a little mini club scene.
Yes, it is. And it is. That's what I said, even already there, that, it is. You're bringing all these clubs and the rivalry that's there. We were the same with Clare. Oh my God, we fought in and day out, day in with Dunbeg, Clare, Kilmehel. You're playing at club level, but when you come together there, you're out together, you're on the bus together. As Loretta mentioned, to matches we went to, back in 95, 97, the girls, oh my God, Annie Ryan, Etna Morrissey, Aoife Healy, they sang all the way there, they sang all the way back and played football all the way in between, and it's like that. You do build those really close friendships and you do everything on the field together, then you go forward as one unit, you play together as one unit, and and just do your best, so that, the clubs are irrelevant when you come in to playing for your school. It's irrelevant, no more than county teams. It's irrelevant, you're going forward to represent your school, your county, and going beyond Munster is amazing, and to get to this is just, it's there for the taking.
Deirdre Shannon and Loretta Hanrahan there looking ahead to Thursday's game. Now, as we continue our look ahead to this All-Ireland final on Thursday, delighted to have one of the Spanish Point mentors on the line with us, Shauna Harvey, herself no stranger indeed to top-level ladies football. Shauna, you experienced some big days, obviously, between club and county on the field. How have you found this journey on the sideline?
Oh, it's been a great journey over the last couple of years, Derek. We're just so fortunate that there's just a great bunch of girls the last couple of years, but they make it much easier. They've given up a lot of time. They come in early in the morning, and it just makes it easier for us to get involved in with them. But I think everyone's heard this numerous times now, but it's been since 1997 that a Clare school has been in this team, so it's a great achievement.
And one thing that I've picked up, even talking to some of the players before the Munster final and even before last year's Munster final, is that there's a serious mutual respect between players and management for the time and effort that you're all putting in. So, that kind of a bond when things get tough in a game can be often so crucial.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. We all have a great bond, and it definitely it comes with hard work, and the girls see the commitment that myself, Emer, Paul and Fiona have given up, and all the time that we give up and then commitment back to us. So there's great level of respect between us all.
And Shauna, one thing that I suppose you can't buy is that experience of knowing how to win games, how to see out tight games, and I suppose how not to panic when things mightn't be going your way, and you've experienced all that.
Yeah, we certainly have over the last couple of years. A lot of our games have come down to literally the last minute, and even the last day. In the dressing room before the game, Emer had said to the girls, don't panic, it's not over till the end, and we need to see it out. But the girls have nerves of steel. We could have given up when Moat got that. goal. There was probably only a minute left on the clock, but they showed great determination and they didn't panic. And Kayla sent in a great ball for Alicia to finish it in great style. But no, they're great.
And it seems to be a hugely balanced team as well. I mean, there's strength, there's pace, there's power. I mean, Abby Kelly has an engine on her that I'd say Henry Ford would have been proud to put into any of his cars back in the day. She'll, fantastic athlete. You have the two Ryans and the scoring power of them. You have Ellie Hanrahan and all the experience she's bringing to it, and obviously defensively quite sound and tight as well back there. So it's a very much a balanced team.
No, it certainly is a balanced team. There's strengths all over the field, and like each girl seems to have their own strength and bring that to the team. Like we're very, very fortunate. Like Ellie and Aveen and Kayla, like the older girls, like they've been on the team for the last 3 years, so they bring that experience. Like they know what it's like to play on the big days, and then like the younger girls are rolling in each year. But it's a huge panel effort. Like the girls are really pushing hard at training, and if we could play everyone, it'd be great. But in fairness, the subs have been pushing for places on the team the last couple of years. Even the likes of Emma Talty there in defence, like she probably didn't get much game time the last couple of years, and she is just having some year this year. Like she's been phenomenal there in the backs. So it's a great balanced team.
And we have to give mention as well to the goalkeeper and people that know where I'm located in the county. She's just about 100 yards down the road from my front house. But for a player as young as Ella Cushion to be doing what she's doing in goals it's savage stuff.
Oh, it really is. Like Ella is, I don't think she even realises how important she is to the team. Like definitely in ladies football, the goalkeeper is a key position. And she's been playing absolutely brilliant this year. And I think we do forget at every match that, like, I think she only turned 14 during the week. So, like, from the Munster final, she was only 13 inside in goals. And you're playing against, like, 18 and 19-year-olds. And she's definitely shown how good she is. Like, she's a brilliant shot stopper. She doesn't panic. And she's been a real vital role for the team this year.
And it's also a great testament, I suppose, to the work and time and commitment, as we mentioned, that you put in as management. But I suppose from a school-wide perspective as well, in fairness to Paul, it has become almost as much a sporting academy as it has a school. And I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek, but it takes a lot of effort for all this extracurricular stuff to be coordinated and fostered in the way that it is.
Oh, it does. Like, and you need the support of everyone rowing in behind each other for all the different teams and the different sports, because the girls are playing basketball as well. So, we have to make sure we're not clashing and giving them rest, and it's giving up time and work, like balancing with school work. Like, you don't want to be taking them out of classes. So trying to organise training before school and after school, like it takes a lot of time and commitment. But definitely, like everyone in the school, like they all row in behind the sport and they see how important it is for the girls to be part of teams. Sport is like the way of Spanish Pints at the moment. Like all the kids seem to love it.
Yeah, and I suppose that's evident by the amount of busloads that went to the last game, and hopefully we'll do the same to Carlow on Thursday. Have the teachers done their homework on the opposition?
Yeah, we have. They're a good side. Like any Northern team you play, like they're going to be physical, strong, defensive. Our Ulster final was recorded, so we've had a look at that, but it's hard to take too much from it. It was bad conditions that evening, but we've our homework done, and like we've a great opportunity. Like when you're in the final, like everything is up for grabs. Like our aim was to get there, and now the aim is to go on and win it.
And a 1 o'clock start in Dr. Cullen Park in Carlow. I have gone on the record saying I think it's an unmerciful shame, and a little bit stronger than that this game isn't in Croke Park, but be that as it may, that's where it is. A 1 o'clock start for the game. I'd imagine there would be fleets and fleets of buses leaving West Clare well before that.
Oh yeah, like there was huge support in Tune the last day. And it really, the girls have even said it, like they'd be nervous playing in front of the big crowds, but they said the last day when things were going against us, they said the roar and cheering from the crowd really spurred them on. And if I could have recorded, we were under pressure and even Ryan stuck a goal, and the roar from the crowd was it was brilliant. Like, like it's days like that the girls love playing with. And I'm sure there's going to be busloads again, and there'll be teachers and everyone there. And like all year we've had parents, I'd say there's no holidays left for the rest of the year from all the parents in Spanish Point. Like, they've made most of our games, and the girls, like, it really does spur them on.
Well, hopefully there'll be a massive historic homecoming to the brick area of St. Joseph Spanish Point for those that are familiar with it, where plenty previously successful teams were welcomed home as well. Shauna, thanks for having the time to have a chat with us, and please God, we'll see you on Thursday.
Great, thanks a million, Derek.
And the very best of luck to all the Spanish Point crew in Thursday's final. We'll have full live online commentary of the game on the Clare FM website and social media channels as well to keep you up to date from Carlow. So really looking forward to that one. However, we're just out of time once again on this Monday. The West Wind is up next here on Clare FM. Enjoy the rest of your evening.